All right, folks, this is English 1010 with Mr. Smith, fall 2021 semester at Tennessee Tech University. And I'm excited to share with my class today why everyone can learn from the film Almost Famous, uh, directed by Cameron Crowe, starring Patrick Fugit as the young William Miller, the fictional teenage rock journalist based somewhat autobiographically on the director Cameron Crowe himself when he was a writer for Rolling Stone magazine. And full disclosure, like Crowe, I was also a teenage rock journalist for the Southfield High School J, the Wayne State South End college paper and high school paper. Also wrote for multiple fanzines and was able to get backstage to see a lot of bands when I was in high school and college. So, and occasionally as an adult, I'll still do that, but I generally just go to shows for fun. Today, pay for my tickets. Don't try to meet the band like I used to. But back in those days, mostly junior and senior year of high school, I pretty much got to see every band I wanted to see and met pretty much all the rock stars. It was pretty amazing experience. But watching this film as we're preparing to do a profile assignment in English 1010, I think is a really incredible and inspiring piece of art. And I think it also is very teachable for us. So Cameron Crowe's autobiographical film, Almost Famous, will turn 21 years old. It's 21 years old this year. And it's been a regular part of this freshman comp class at Tennessee Tech for as long as I can remember. But I think all first-year college students can learn a little bit or a lot from the film's protagonist, William Miller, for this assignment in particular, the profile that we're about to do, but for the college and professional experience in general. So here's a short guide, my short guide to why you can learn from young William, the aspiring rock writer. Trigger warning, content warning. There are some aspects of this film that are not models for young people, especially the fact that most of the protagonists, the multiple protagonists of the film, William and Penny Lane, were underage when all this stuff went down, and definitely you should wait till you're at least 18 or 21 to go on tour with a famous band. But again, I was a high school journalist as well, so I empathize and sympathize with the complicated realities of this film. At the end of the talk, I will provide a reference to a podcast that does talk about some of the complexities of this film. Not to give this a utterly perfect review, but there's still a lot that we can learn from William Miller. So the point one. So yes, William Miller, Patrick Fugit, is the young teenage journalist modeled on the life of director Cameron Crowe. One thing that he does is he nerds out about everything. He gets excited about music in a way that he learns the lyrics, the bands, who the producer was, where they recorded the album. He's a trivia buff. And there's a great scene in the film where Lester Bangs, portrayed by the late Philip Seymour Hoffman, an incredible portrayal of his mentor Lester Bangs, where they start debating the merits of David Bowie and Lou Reed, and that's a perfect example of the passion that these multiple protagonists in this film have for popular music. So getting excited about something to where you will do the extra research and you go the extra mile to learn about that. And I'm not expecting my students to be all this about rock and roll, but hopefully they are this about something. Maybe it's sports, maybe it's hunting, maybe it's fashion design. It could be a million different things that you are passionate about, that you nerd out about. But let that passion guide you as you choose your topics for this assignment, and find a person that you're passionate about that you can nerd out about something with them, whether it's a hobby or a profession. William is a bit of a rebel, but he's not your typical rebel. He, in fact, respects his home influences. He respects his mother, played by the incredible Frances McDormand in this film. Both her quirky wisdom and also his sister's coolness, like the rite of passage of her passing on her album collection when she goes on the road, is very formative to William. We sometimes forget that our adventurous side is not always necessarily in contrast to our domestic side. Sometimes our domestic side and our adventurous side can harmonize and synchronize, and I think that's something profound that our protagonist learns in this story. he keeps his love and his respect for his mother and his sister, and they play really incredible roles in helping him continue his guidance of formation. The most important thing, though, is his willingness to pursue his true calling. There is a scene with Hoffman where he tries to discourage him. He says with the Lester Bangs character, "Rock and roll is dead. The war's over. They won. You know, silence would be more compelling than most of the music being produced today, and go off and be a lawyer." And no, rock writing is William's passion and calling, and he will follow his muse. Later filmmaking, obviously the muse of Cameron Crowe. We all need to remember this in choosing our profile topics and in choosing your career and in choosing your life path. You know, pick something that you want for life. Howard Thurman, and I'll mess up the quote, but he has this really famous quote. Howard Thurman was a black mystic, spiritual writer from the 20th century. He said, don't ask what the world needs you to do, but ask what makes you come alive. Because what the world needs is people that have fully come alive. So pursue your passions. This is another great lesson that we learn from William Miller. Now, this is getting into the weeds here. This is a nerdy thing about it, but you're going to notice this in the film. He always has a notebook with him. And even though I'm not publishing a review of every concert I go to, I always bring a pen and a notebook to a show. And I've made these little scratch pads out of scratch paper, homemade scratch pads that fit in my pocket nicely, or in a fanny pack, you know, that you can bring to a show. But he's always got his notes out, or he's got this little tape recorder and the microphone. He's a profound documentarian. William is that guy. He takes notes when having lunch with Lester Bangs. He's taking notes on the set list while Stillwater rocks out, despite Penny's dismissive glance. You know, she looks at him. She even grabs his pen and kind of makes fun of him. He takes excellent notes. Sometimes yes, sometimes no, throughout the traveling and following the band experience. He never forgets that he is the rock journalist, the one that they call the enemy. When you get to go to do your profile assignment, and I'll have a detailed talk on Wednesday about how to do the interview, but you want to have a recording. Now, if you use you know, Zoom or Google Meeting or FaceTime or whatever, many times you can record your chats now, video chats. That'll probably be the best way to do this interview, is to do a Zoom and record it, or a comparable video chat platform. But you want to be able, you can also take a small handheld audio recorder. There are many different ways to get a live recording of your talk. But and also to take notes always, and just in general. You know, I've noticed when I haven't taught in the classroom in years, now 2 years it'll be in the spring, but when we were in the classroom, you know, I'd always encourage my students to take notes. One year I would just bought them all a little notebook, made them take notes, made them hand it in. But I'm finding that by and large, y'all are terrible note takers. I'm just saying in general, a lot of today's college students don't want to take notes. You know, they either want to, you know, put something on their phone, take a picture with their phone. Maybe they'll type a little bit on their laptop. But old school note taking is not in vogue as far as I can tell, but I highly recommend it. Having a notebook, pen, and a paper at all times, scribbling down little things, jotting little things down. I had a friend who would carry around little index cards in the breast pocket of a dress shirt just to take notes. And you'll find that there is scraps of paper, napkins, and all other kinds of, when you watch the film all the way to the end, he has all kinds of, you know, implements of documentation. But paying attention is one of the most important things to becoming a successful student and a successful writer. And William Miller in Almost Famous is a pinnacle of paying attention. Something else that he does that's really important is that he seeks out a mentor. In seeking out Lester Bangs as a personal mentor, they get their phone numbers exchanged. You know, he said, "You can call me at home. I stay up late. And I'm never gone." Like he said, "I'm uncool." There's a whole scene late in the movie where they talk about the privileges of being uncool. You know, Lester Bangs is not cool. And he's there to help young William Miller. Bangs is goofy, awkward, uncomfortable, single. He's middle-aged. He's outside of the, you know, the cool friend group's age for sure. He's utterly uncool, but he's eloquent and opinionated about their shared loving topic of all things rock. But it's somebody that Miller can call on in his 11th hour of crisis towards the end of the film, and it really makes a difference. And it's good to have these as family members, but it's good to have a non-family member, and it's good to have a professor or a teacher or a former teacher or a coach or a youth pastor or a neighborhood icon. But it's good to have somebody that you can call that's not your immediate blood family. It's good to have a professional, personal mentor, personal and professional mentor. It may be such that that's the person you choose to write your paper on. He knows and he cares about his topic. He is not choosing to write about something that he is meh about or blah about or in any way indifferent about. He cares and is profoundly invested in his topic. He wants to know everything about the band Stillwater, even before he gets the gig to write about them. Strive to learn all about your topics, whatever the paper, this paper, the next paper, this class, the class you have after my class, any of your pursuits in college. Get to know that which you are discussing. Strive to learn everything that there is to learn because of curiosity. We as humans are inherently curious. We want to learn more. The only way I can stay passionate about my profession and my side of the desk today, at the length of time I've spent in teaching, is that I'm still more a student than a teacher. I'm a perpetual learner. I'm perpetually curious. And I learn from each and every one of you every day. And you guys teach me and mentor me as much as I could help to also mentor you. It's a reciprocal relationship. And I'm sure that Miller gave Lester Bangs, a ton as well. But get passionate about your topic. Something really cool that he does at the beginning of the Ask at the San Diego Sports Arena when they were opening up for Black Sabbath, and he meets Stillwater as they're exiting the tour bus, and they help get him backstage, is he has this incredible ability to flatter his subject and make them feel important. And when you go, and this week, you're not supposed to have solidified the whole interview yet. You're making your 3 topics, possible topics. You're making maybe initial contact, maybe scheduling a possible time. And I'll talk about this more on Wednesday, but one of the most incredible things that Miller does is that he flatters them, makes them feel important. Russell, the guitar sound is incendiary. And then, of course, the lead singer is like, hey, what about me? I'm incendiary too. He's sincere. He's smart. Anytime you are getting out of your comfort zone and you're making a big ask, and I'm hoping that a few of you won't just interview your roommate or your dad, though that you might have really good reason. You might have a good angle to interview your roommate or your dad. But if you go and reach out and make a big ask, get out of your comfort zone, putting that person not necessarily on a pedestal, but lifting them up in such a way that they feel honored and good, that you respect their time and their experience and wisdom and whatever it is that you want to talk to them about, it will help advance the cause of your project. Learn to flatter when sincere and appropriate your professors and classmates. Professionalism can mean building up your colleagues, for making each other feel good, feel important, feel worthy. Now, I did say this. I did find an interesting podcast called "I Hate It, But I Love It," and they did an episode on Almost Famous, and they bring up some of the more morally complex and complicated things. This is maybe a typical teenage movie, but there are aspects that are problematic and even maybe triggering. So I recommend the "I Hate It, I Love It" podcast for it. And I highly recommend on your own going to check out the actual article. And I hope this link is working and they don't ever put it behind a paywall. But he did follow around the great Southern rock icons, the Allman Brothers. And it's just really, just an amazing thing that they did, getting a teenage high school student to be, the person who gets to write about the Allman Brothers on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine. So Stillwater is based on the Allman Brothers and other bands that Miller was able, or that Crow was able to to talk about it. So I think that this is a great movie. I hope you guys didn't feel you wasted 2 hours writing about it. If you do choose to write a extra credit email to me about it, I would love to receive that. 500 words if you do that. But anyway, this is William Miller. Be like William Miller. Be passionate. Be invested. Get advice. Take notes everywhere. Flatter people that you admire. It's important. All this stuff's important. So this is my little, this concludes my little mini lecture on how the character William Miller in the film Almost Famous will help you be successful, not just on this assignment, but in college in general. So thanks for coming to my TED Talk.